It says we can just cut that part out. So if anything rings or makes a noise. So we look good there. And I think we look there. And what I did with Mr. DePasquale is I more or less just asked questions and just kind of let it go in whatever direction it kind of went with. The way I started was I asked, what is your full name?
Nancy Ann Myers, until I became Nancy DePasquale.
Okay. And you are from?
I was born in Berkeley County, West Virginia, and the county seat of that county is Martinsburg. And so I went to Martinsburg High School and so on, but I was born in the county.
Okay. And what year were you born?
I don't remember.
If you're, okay.
The day I was born at home, and the doctor came that morning to spend the day at the house. And I've always heard the story, my father cooked a meal with fried chicken, by frying chicken. And for years, the doctor said it was the best fried chicken he'd ever eaten.
What is your birthday? When were you born?
Beg pardon?
Like what's your date and birth? Like what's your birthday?
November the 4th.
November 4th. What sign is that?
I don't know. Scorpio.
Is Scorpio? Okay.
I don't know.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a half-sister, 10 years younger.
And is it how is it a half? Is it your mom or your dad?
My mother and father divorced when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother remarried.
Okay.
When I was about in the 2nd grade.
Okay.
And that's when my half-sister came.
Okay. And what's your half-sister's name?
Judy.
Judy. And is Judy still with us?
Oh, yes. Judy has 4 daughters.
Oh, fantastic.
I have 4 sons.
Where are Judy and the daughters?
In Martinsburg area.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Cool.
I think one was in Blacksburg, but the rest are still in Martinsburg.
Okay. And what was it like growing up in that Berkeley Martinsburg area?
Well, I lived with my grandparents most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's parents, and I knew my grandfather on my dad's side. His name was Jake Myers. But on my mother's side, I knew my grandparents and my great-grandparents.
Okay.
And so growing up, it was in a small community. My grade school was 1 through 7. Oh no, yeah, 1 through 8.
1 through 8. Okay.
And I was the only student in that school who had divorced parents.
Okay.
Because it just didn't happen then.
Sure. What was that like? Like, did the other kids know that, or?
Well, sure, everybody knew it. And they would ask questions, you know, and I lived with it. I mean, I don't think it was a problem. Now that I think back, it probably was a problem, but
sure.
At that time I didn't know it if it was a problem.
When your parents divorced, did your dad go somewhere, or did your mom go somewhere?
My mother remarried when I was in the 2nd grade, I believe, and she moved to Hagerstown, Maryland.
Okay. Which is only about 20 minutes away.
Yes. Right? And when I lived with her and my stepfather, every Saturday I would get on a bus and go to visit my dad on weekends.
Okay.
And that was always a jolly time. We went to movies, we did lots of fun things together.
Do you have a favorite movie?
No, but I remember one movie. This young lady, Deanna Durbin, I think she was a singer, but she was also in the movies, was going to study law. And made it very exciting. And that's the day I knew I was going to college.
Okay.
That movie influenced me. I don't even know the name of the movie.
Okay.
So.
And that's one of the notes that's on here. You're from a generation where women weren't necessarily encouraged to get higher educations.
I was the first one in my history of my family to graduate, on my mother's side, to graduate from college.
Okay.
And
that's out of boys and girls?
Out of everybody, yes.
Okay.
And on my dad's side, a cousin the same age, we were the first to graduate college on my dad's side.
And what college did you go to?
I went to Shepherd. It was called Shepherd College then. Of course, now it's Shepherd University.
Okay. And that's also West Virginia?
West Virginia.
Okay. And then I'll just backtrack a little bit. So when you went to school, 1st through 8th, what was your actual school building like? What would it be like for you to go to school in the day?
There was a 4-room classroom, and each classroom had 2 grades.
Okay.
And it was small. It was a country school. But in one day, my teacher spanked everybody in the class, which was most unusual. And so...
Do you remember what they had done?
Oh, yes, we had a test, and no one passed it in science. And I had to name the planets. Instead of putting them beside the number, I put them at the end of the page, so she didn't see that. And after the spanking, before I said, I had that answer. She says, you did not have it on the right side of the page. So we still got spankings.
Times are different. And when you got out of the 1st through 8th, would that then be considered high school? So 9th through?
9 through 12 was high school.
And then was high school at a new building?
Yes, it was in the city of Martinsburg, the town of Martinsburg.
Okay, and what was high school like?
It was interesting. I had a good time. I volunteered in the library,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in the National Honor Society. I was a manager of the girls' basketball team, and all that meant was to get supplies to sell for money for cooks and things. And it was good.
Did you play any, were there girls' sports at that time?
Of course.
Okay. And what, did you play any of them, or?
We had basketball games during lunch, and I played once and put I made the basket, it was on the wrong side. I should have done it, but I never tried sports again.
You and I probably could have been on the same team. That's something I think I would have done. I'm actually just gonna check the tape. Fantastic. I was taping something once and thought the camera was running, and then when I got back after getting all the footage, or thinking I got all the footage, I saw that it had not been running, and now I'm so paranoid that I'm going to do it again. I check probably more than I need to. Now, one of the things that's in the notes, they talked about, and this is something even for me, my entire life, I always had a phone in the house and TVs and regular electric and indoor plumbing. And so I think even because the whole purpose is for when Luke and Lena and David and Laura, when they all get to see this when they're a little bit older, it won't even register for them. I think some of the things that you guys had as children, or things that were just so different as children. There was a phone system that you had in your house, and I think they call it a party line?
A party line. Each house had a different ring. So that's how we know someone was calling us. And if you wanted to, you could pick up and listen to all the conversations going on.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure there are women who that was their hobby of the day listening
Sure.
in. But it was called a party line. We had that for years.
Okay.
That did not happen in Martinsburg. That was in the county.
Okay. And do you remember, is that from your earliest recollection, or was that even something new?
We did not have a phone at my grandmother's until I was in high school. But there was a farm down the road a piece who had a phone. And we would go there and make calls when we had to make calls. And the phone was on the wall. It was not like we see phones today.
Sure.
But we rang a bell.
The wooden box?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because when I would call my mother, I'd have to stand on a little stool to reach the phone.
Okay.
So.
And I guess for us, we hear a dial tone. When you picked up the receiver, how would you actually make a call on a phone?
We had to listen to see if anyone was talking. If they were not talking, then we could make a call.
And would you push a button, or was there an operator that would make the patch?
I think there was an operator. We had to give the operator a number.
Okay. And then that's something too. Today we have I think it's a 10-digit number with the area code.
Ours were 4.
You had a 4-digit number? Do you remember what your phone number was by any chance?
No.
Okay.
No. I want to go back to visiting my father.
Sure.
Besides having fun, every year we would go visit his brother in New Jersey.
Okay.
And that was the cousin who was my age.
Okay.
And we had such a good time. And one year, my father, my uncle, and my cousin and I were taken to the World's Fair. And this was probably in '39 in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen an escalator. It was in the German building. And of course, Francis and I kept riding and riding, and my father was so nice, he would never say, let's move on. But Uncle Frank finally said, Francis, get off of there. So we saw the rest of the fair then.
That's very cool. With your dad, what was your dad's name?
Charles, but he is known as Charlie.
Okay, so he's Charles, but he's Charlie. And then, can you say the last name again?
Myers, Myers.
Myers. Okay, so he was Charlie Myers. And then, do you remember what his middle name was?
Yeah, sure, Benjamin.
Okay, so Charlie Benjamin Myers. And then, let's see, he stayed in Martinsburg.
Yes.
Okay. And so, like, what kind of things would you do with him? Because your face lit up when you said that you went to go to do these weekly visits.
Right.
Like, what you said you did the movies?
We would do movies, and every night, on Saturday night, we would go out to eat. And we always went to his favorite restaurant, and it was like a family affair. I mean, they made over me when I got there, and so on like that. He lived with his sister.
Okay.
And this is the same sister at one time. Her father and her father-in-law lived with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I remember my grandfather living at Aunt Gertrude's house.
Okay.
And my dad did not remarry until I was in high school, freshman in high school.
Okay.
So for a long period of time, he was not married.
So Charlie's sister is Gertrude?
Yes, there were 6 children in that family.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, when did your family line come to the States? Like, when? What is your? I know that Mr. DePasquale is Italian. What's your lineage?
We really do not know. I've never looked it up. Probably English, maybe German. My grandfather's name was Jacobs.
Okay, Jacobs.
And my grandmother's last name was Metz.
Okay.
And that's a German name, I believe.
Okay.
And my great-grandmother was born in this country.
Oh, your great grandmother was. So you got your line has been here.
A long time.
Sure.
And my grandfather, on my father's side, went to Kansas to find a bride.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother was actually from Kansas. She was his 4th wife. All the others died.
Okay.
But she actually was from Kansas. I have a feeling that her family originated in Berkeley County and moved to Kansas.
Okay.
I don't know that for a fact, but how would he find someone in Kansas?
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened.
Okay. And then, what was your childhood like as far as like friends and what? Like, did you have a lot of friends that lived in the neighborhood?
No, when I lived in the country, we didn't have close neighbors, and we did not have play dates and things like they have today. So my grandmother was my playmate.
Okay. And what kind of stuff would you do with your grandmother?
We had tea parties, and I would comb her hair, and we chatted all the time. She would sing to me, and I remember some of the songs, and she would tell me stories of olden times, we called it.
Okay.
And so she was my friend.
Very nice. Would you guys ever sew stuff together or cook together? Yeah.
No, she was not much of a seamstress or a cook.
Okay.
So we played.
Okay. Well, that's very, very interesting to hear.
This was my grandma.
Sure. Where did you learn to cook?
I basically learned to cook after I got married.
Okay.
I hadn't cooked much until then.
So it sounds like you were very good in school, like you were very academic.
Well, I wanted to go to college.
Yeah. What would your favorite class be? Like, what would I guess at that point they would teach it more like topics. What was your favorite topic?
I don't think I had a favorite one. I was very interested in being a librarian after I decided what way to go. So there were 3 of us who were volunteers at the library at the high school, and we all went to Shepherd. And they had no program for school librarians, so we went to the president of the school and told him we were interested in that, and he said, I'll look into it. So they did develop a program, And we were the first 3 to ever graduate from the school in libraries.
Oh,
It was
wow.
called Education Library Science, I think, on our certificate. And because my last name was M, I was the first to graduate. The other 2 girls' last names started with W.
Well, that's fantastic. When, with the library, did you find that, did you have a huge appetite for reading?
Oh, yes.
What were some of your favorite, I guess, styles of books? And do you have a favorite book you can think of?
Well, I used to, but I don't remember anymore. There are books I've reread a number of times.
Sure.
So I considered any book that I wanted to read the second time a good book.
Okay. Do you know, like off the top of your head, are there 3 or 4 that stand out that you might have read more than others?
And no, I don't remember.
Okay. Do you prefer mysteries over romance?
I do not like mysteries, but, well, there was, after I was a librarian, there was a writer, a lady with me or something like that, who wrote mystery stories, very light mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to read most of the books that I bought in the library to know what they were about. And so those were the only mysteries, but it was a very light mystery.
Okay.
But as far as mysteries, I really do not like mystery stories. I
Ju-
like happy stories with happy endings.
Okay. Do you have a favorite author?
No.
Okay. And then we talked a little. I was talking to Mr. DePasquale about foods that my frame of reference for that is my mom makes a pork loin with macaroni and cheese that I could eat till I fall out of my chair. It's so good. Do you have a dish you remember growing up where, like, if it was made, it was just your favorite food? Or
Well, any potato or Coca-Cola.
okay,
Any type of potato or any Coca-Cola.
sure.
As long as they're in the small bottles.
Okay, absolutely.